Morning everyone, how are y'all doing? Today we're going to take I've got the Ruud 20 Seer Ultra high efficiency air conditioners, and when I put the system in, I missed the checkbox for heat pumps. I actually didn't think that you could order an air conditioner that was as efficient without a heat pump, but you can. So we're going to be changing those out. Got the brand new heat pump right here in the box. I have basically two of these 4-ton units on the outside of my house. The inside units are 5 tons. So what we're going to do is we're going to swap these units out today. I have about a month of history, and you'll be able to see the difference in energy consumption on efficient heat pump versus heat strips. I pretty much know these units pull 1,000 watts consistently on AC, so it should be about the same on heat. And we're going to get those hooked up later today, and I've got some history on reports I can print out. I'll show y'all those, how much the heat strips have been drawing. Of course, those are 18 kW heat strips, and I've got 2 of them. So I think the proof is in the heat pumps are going to be a lot more efficient. But just want to do a video on this. We're going to swap these out this morning, get the heat pumps installed, and then it'll be interesting to see how much less energy they use. So we'll get started on it. So when you get your 20 Seer unit and it shows up, if you wanted a heat pump, it's going to say it right there on the face. Got these opened up. Difference on the other unit, just says high efficiency air conditioner. All right, I'm gonna try to hold my phone up as steady as I can. So we've got the heat pumps installed, and then now what you'll see is when you come in here and you go to the settings is you'll see the emergency heat. Now that's your heat strips, and then you'll have the regular heat automatically picked all that up. So then we go into the settings. You hit the installer mode, and then we'll go to the AC heat pump, and you can see now that it's installed. Now under heat source, you can select the heat strips only, the electric heat. You can select heat pump, or you can select both, which of course I've got both selected because I do want the heat strips to come on if for some reason the heat pumps can't keep up, or if it's too cold outside for the heat pumps to run. So anyway, basically I've got that set up. The one thing I did notice in both is the heat strips were coming on like within a 2 or 3 minute period, while the heat pump was running up. And I actually want to keep those heat strips off my grid unless I need them. So there's another setting in this thermostat. I went over here, and then there's an auxiliary heat hold off time. And basically what that means is the heat pumps will have 20 minutes to run, and if they can't keep up or can't reach that temperature within a 15 to 20 minute period, then the heat strips will kick on. So you can pretty much customize it to how you want it to run. If I go back in here, let me go back again, we'll do a status. You can actually look at the AC heat pump. Go to more, and it'll actually show you your inverter current speed. That's a 7,000 RPM inverter, and even in the AC, most of the time I've seen it around 1,500 to 2,500 is what it runs in the heat pump. So it's only running about a quarter speed most of the time, but you can see your interstage pressures, your cool temp, all that stuff in here. So when they ramp up, you can see what's going on. I'm gonna pull the electric information up on the computer, and I'll show you all the difference between the strips and the pump within the same temperature over a night's period. Okay, so I pulled the chart for the heat strips, and this looks like about a 49 degree day, 40 to 49 is pretty even to what last night was here in Victoria. One of the things I wanted to show you was, if you look at this chart, it goes up to the 25,000 watts, basically 25 kW. And if you look at the heat strips, right? Now this is my whole house. This is not just the heat pumps, right? Because I have I guess my consumption meters are tied in, you know, to everything. But as you can see, every time that these heat strips cycle at nighttime, you know, I'm pulling 12,740 watts. And down in the lows and the valleys at 1,600 on average, you know, that's running all my stuff in my house. But then again, 12,700, 12,700, there's a 14,000. So you're seeing that the grid takes a pretty good hit every time that these heat strips cycle. And then here's both the units, right? That's at 28,000 watts. So at looking at this, you can kind of tell, you know, that I'm averaging somewhere around 1,500 to 1,800 watts down here when the strips aren't running. And then you can see at the top that, you know, and I'm looking at this in the early morning so that we're not looking at other things being consumed in the house. There's no laundry being done at this time. You know, it's just my basic stuff running. So it's got a pretty good flat line to compare it to. But yeah, you can definitely see that you've got some high energy peaks. You know, one of the concerns for me is I do run backup generation here, and I do have solar, and you know, I definitely don't want to ever see this kind of hit. I mean, that would basically, one of these takes up, I've got a 22 kW Generac, and so, you know, not running everything, that would be overloading my gen set. So I want to stay conservative and want to keep it where I'm not having these high peaks and where I'm using less energy overall. So I'm going to flip to another grid and show you the difference with the same temp last night and what it looks like with the heat pumps. Okay, so I pulled the grid up for yesterday, basically showing this is the heat strips. You know, this is when we finally, I guess, when we finished up getting the heat pumps installed, getting them charged and all that stuff. It was around 6 o'clock yesterday evening. And so, you know, before then you're seeing these high peaks, and these are those heat strips coming on, right? There's another 21,000. Here's another 12,000. Once we got the units charged, you know, and the temperature started dropping off, you know, we get into 6, 7 o'clock that evening, and then you look yesterday evening, and then this runs through 8 o'clock this morning, and this was last night's usage, right? And we knew I had about a 15 to 1,800 watt baseline on the house at nighttime, you know, early morning, and look at that. And you can see the heat pump cycles, that's 15,000 watts, and basically getting over here, look at that. That's a heat pump cycle at 1,000 watts to heat the house. There's another heat pump cycle right there. It's, well, I'm saying 1,000 watts. It's about 1,000 over my baseline, which is 1,500. So I'm guessing that's pretty close to what the heat pumps are. But instead of hitting that 24,000 and that 12,000 watts, you can see that these heat pumps only hit us at about, you know, top of the baselines at 3,200. And it's a lot smoother. It's not an instant on, instant off. It looks like it's cycling about the same time if you look in between the gaps. So that gap right there, you know, I would say that's probably what, 30, 45 minute cycle time. You know, I think that's pretty close to about right there, seeing the same thing. Of course, it's just a lot smaller. So just wanted to show the difference between heat strips versus the heat pumps, kind of their consumption. Of course, these are the variable speed. So they're a little bit more efficient than just a 1-stage or 2-stage. If you got any questions, please drop them below. If you don't mind, please hit that like and subscribe button on the bottom. Keeps these videos rolling. If you're in the market for 2 nice 20 Seer Ruud Ultra compressors, I'll make you a good deal on them. I'm in South Texas. Just thanks for watching. If you got any questions, put them below. Have a good day.